Hello, beautiful, and welcome back to another episode of Beautiful, I Am Colored. It's been a long time. We have so much to catch up on. Oh my goodness. I'm so happy, first of all, to be back. Like just pressing the button and saying hello, beautiful, just did something to my soul today. Oh my goodness. Wow, where shall I begin? Well, actually, before I begin and catching you up with things, let me just share this with you. You all know that I love for things, I think you know this by now anyways, my listeners, that I like things to be neat and orderly and tidy, and my life has been nothing like that. The past several months now, maybe going on 6 to 7 months, I think it's been that I've been on hiatus. I had every anticipation of launching back again in January and saying Happy New Year and all the good things. But as life would have it, life happens to us all. And so my commitment is first and foremost to myself, but then also to my family. And so we had some urgent matters that rose within the past 6 months, dealing with really the young adults mostly. But then also I transitioned into full-time work again. And then just navigating other things, which took up space and time, or I would say and acknowledge that I allowed those things to take up space and time. And also it's important for me always to come to you from a place of overflow and not a place of lack. And so I was trying to figure out, well, when is the right time to pull the trigger to come back on and talk to you a little bit. And several weeks ago, the title of today's show dropped down and, I wrote it down or typed it down in my notes section on my phone. And I was like, this is going to be the first title that I'm coming back with, not knowing when that date will be. And so today's title, The Inconvenience of Opportunities, I'm going to expound on in just a few moments. But as you know, I like to start off first with shout outs and thank yous. And this week's shout out and thank you goes to my personal trainer, Claudia Oviatt. She is awesome. I have been training with her now for several months. And it's just time for me to take it to the next level, dial in my diet and stuff, because, she has to make physical appearances coming up here at a few different events back to back. And so nobody's trying to look chunky in pictures and all that kind of stuff. But also it's more important for it to be reflected from the inside out. So still doing my work, and I hope that you are too. Oh my gosh, I can tell by the way I'm windbagging right now that I have missed this so much. I'm going to take a little bit of a pause because I'm literally just getting back from the gym. So I'm going to take a little bit of a pause, and then I'll come back and talk to you about today's title, The Inconvenience of Opportunities, and how I'm navigating through that season of my life. So happy to be back. It's Happy New Year still, even though we're about to go into April, right? Well, it is to me. So Happy New Year. All right, I'll be right back. So the inconvenience of opportunities. I have been just thinking a lot, as I alluded to in the intro, about how to come back. And I wanted things to be so beautiful. No pun intended. I wanted things to be so beautiful, and, I wanted new music, and I wanted to spice things up, and I was just getting used to editing videos on YouTube. And then I took a job that has a whole bunch of restrictions. And so I was like, well, YouTube might not be the best idea here, but just going back and forth with how to do things. And I think life is a lot like that, right? We want to take advantage of the opportunities that come, no matter how small or how great. But if you're like me, and I know that some of you are, we have a tendency to overthink and overanalyze things before we actually take the leap. And I think I've shared this with you before, but the truth of the matter is that when opportunity arises for all of us, it rarely, if ever, is an ideal time. That rarely ever happens. It's either you're in it or you're out of it. Just take this podcast, for example. I mean, I guess technically I could have come back at any point. Nothing was hindering me from coming back at any point. But because I got stuck in my own head with trying to figure out the how of things, then it never took place, right? You become stagnant. You remain in a state until you just make a decision. And I keep saying pull the trigger, and that might not be the best analogy given everything that's going on right now. But what I mean is applying that action step in order for the other things to be drawn to you. I know that as a principle, and I've shared about that on this platform before, in that when you are in a season of change or a season of where you're allowing yourself to be open to opportunities that present themselves, that you have to take the leap and you just have to jump sometimes. And so today, literally, I'm in my car right now. Typically, I'm sitting in my comfort of my home office. And, I've prayed before I started. I've done all these things before I come to you. And today was like, no, you can't come to people and talk to people about, just taking the step. And then you're not applying that also to yourself, right? Because that would make me essentially a hypocrite of the very things that I talked to you about. And so here I am, still in my workout clothes, just pulled up on the back carport, talking into my phone. And the point of me sharing that with you is this is not ideal for me. Okay. It's just not. My mama will tell you, I don't like it when things aren't clear. I don't like it when there's not a plan. And I said, you know what? I'm actually ready to go to the next level. So I have to do this today. And it's going to be what it's going to be. And it's going to be raw. And I'm not going to be doing no editing. And I know that's not correct grammar for all of my listening audience who are, tuned to every word that I say. But I'm just like, nah, it's going to be what it's going to be on this day. And while that is a very simplistic example, it is nonetheless true. And I think the encouraging word that I'm trying to say to you is that I'm definitely not perfect. I like perfection. I'm not going to lie to you. And it seems like the older I get, I'm having to really work to fight against that. But no one is perfect, right? The opportunities that come your way, no matter how big or how small, they are not going to come at the times that are the most convenient for you. The question I have for us all when these opportunities come is, are you going to take it or not? Are you going to do it or not? And it's not going to be wrapped, the way that you think it's going to be. Interesting story. Some years ago now, Marlon introduced me to a book by Dr. Joe Dispenza titled Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. And it's one of those really thick, meaty books, kind of like about neuroscience. And it talks about how you can rewire yourself, essentially. Because everything really, truly does start with, the thought process and, in your brain. And it goes into very scientific detail about how the brain works and, how things gel in the brain to where you formulate, let's say a certain pattern that, how can I say this? You formulate a certain pattern that causes you to remain stuck in a cycle. And so he goes into detail about how you break this cycle, right? Which is why it's called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. And so I'm in the early stages of reading this book. I'm chapter 2.5-ish. But I guess in reading the book, it kind of serves as a reminder in that only you have the ability to change you. And you have to have the will to do that. And then in the things that you cannot change, you also have the will to release those things and to let those things go. And sometimes we don't want to let those things go. I don't like to let things go because, frankly, I like control. But the older I get as each day goes by, what I'm learning is that everything is not, it's a time and place for control, but everything is not going to be like that. And you just have to leave well enough alone sometimes. And I think the other piece that I want to share with you is, while I'm going through this next season of my life where I'm rewiring is what I'm trying to say, my brain, and getting my body dialed in, my physical body that is, and continuing to maintain building up my spirit, which allows me to do this particular work, that it's not going to be pretty, it's not. And that's okay. There will be a season and a time to where I'm sure that I'll be fully dialed back in and editing things, how I used to and all that, and maybe even more. But right now, it's just time to take the action step, which is why I'm here and I'm back, and I'm so glad to be back. I don't know in the coming weeks all of the titles that I want to share with you, but I will say with this, there is no time like right now. And so that's why I'm in my car talking to you. So if you're listening to me today and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe it, she's recording, I thought she wasn't going to ever come back. Well, hey, I'm back. Not ideally speaking, but I am back. And so on this Sunday, which I'm so thankful for, I would like to just leave you with a word of encouragement and just say it is never too late. No matter what you're going through, it is not too late. But you do have to start, and you do have to take the action step. And so whoever you are, I hope that this message has reached you. I hope that you use me as an example. For all of us who have to go into the work week, I'm praying that you have a great week, a peaceful week, a prosperous week. I'm praying that for myself, believing that for myself and my family. And I am so grateful too, I would say, to just be back in the ether, doing the work, a part of the work that I am called to do. I'm so grateful and humbled by it each time I press record on this little podcast. Let's see here. Yes, I think that is all that I have within me on this first episode of 2023 to give to you. But as always, my prayer and my hope is that you found a sense of healing in listening to me share and be transparent with you. I look forward to coming back next week. Sundays at 12 is when new episodes are released. Sometimes I share a little bit, sometimes I share a lot, but always it's purpose driven. So I will conclude with that. Until next time, beautiful, have a great week, everyone.